So excited to be here, Sabrina. Thanks for being here, and thanks everyone for coming in and listening to some interesting dialogue on customer centricity. So let's start with the first question. And Sabrina, I had a chance to connect a little bit earlier on some of the topics we wanted to touch on. So one of the first topics that I wanted to touch on was on building relationships. And building relationships that are beyond transactional relationships as it comes to customers. Often marketers are straddling the world where they have to drive performance, but they also have to build long-term relationships with customers that sustain. So can you share a little bit about, maybe start with a little bit about your role and what your charter is at Hanky Panky, and then go beyond that and talk on how do you develop long-lasting relationships with customers?
Yeah, hi everyone. I think that's a great question because that's exactly the reason why I joined Hanky Panky. For those who don't know the brand, it's a premium lingerie brand. I was kidding, but that's the truth. It's just I think 50% at least of women here are wearing Hanky Panky, according to how many stop me in the hallways. The brand has been around for 47 years and created by two women in 1977. So start with that. How bold is that to create a brand, as women in the 70s? 47 years of building a strong relationship with women. I would say when I joined, I have one conviction, and we'll talk about customer centricity for sure, is as marketers, we need to balance brand equity growth and performance. And that equals to profitable growth. I joined the company 3 years ago. I manage creative brand marketing, digital performance, and I own the DTC P&L. DTC was 18% of the company. As far as revenue, now it's 50%, and it's growing double digit. And I would say it's really based on two things, like really the ability for me as I own the P&L to balance brand equity growth, so brand awareness, brand activations, brand projections, really having my take on everything that can grow the brand, but also optimizing performance on a day-to-day basis. And how we do it, you need one leader who understands both. And you need a leadership team that understands also that building your brand equity is key to what you want to accomplish. If you do not differentiate your brand on every single touch point, how can you even drive growth? So it's a day-to-day balance. It's very hard because for anyone in brand marketing, that's the first budget we cut, right? And we've been through challenging years. That's something that I protect with my heart every day. But I would need to show that it's working from a bottom line perspective. So that's the tricky thing.
That's fantastic. And I think in terms of building long-lasting relationships, I could actually see that extending beyond the business world too, right? I sometimes feel I get too transactional with my own kids, where it's about, hey, what did you do today in terms of your academic deliverables or sports? But it's so important to have open-ended conversations, which really create more lasting, more engaged relationships. So I could see that.
I can relate to that. I have two teenagers, so.
Yeah, so I take that concept and I say, yeah, that's kind of what you have to have. You need to have open-ended conversations with your customers, which is really what you're doing, top of the funnel. And wow, so exciting to hear about the growth of your direct-to-consumer share of the business. So moving on and touching maybe another topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about the constant pressure that many of the marketers face here in terms of proving the ROI of their campaigns. So, long-term investments in brand affinity, they sometimes outweigh short-term conversion of campaigns. But how do you incorporate the value of brand building efforts in sort of long-term value? Because if you can do that, then you can effectively navigate the balance between performance and brand awareness.
So that's my, always on discussion with my CFO. You cannot prove immediate ROAS in what you're doing in brand marketing. For example, when we do like a brand activation for Valentine's Day was not even a moment for my brand when I started. And I'm like, what's a waste of, what we're doing? So we started to do some like amazing creative pop-ups, in New York, promoting our products, but really being top of mind for women and men for Valentine's Day gifting. The first way I was able to show performance with that one is really the increase in direct traffic and organic search, and how we built over 2 years a very strong business during this moment. We didn't change our paid strategy. We just changed how we showed up as a brand. Two, if you have a very clear brand platform, which is exactly what I did when I joined, that really delivers on how you differentiate your brand, you'll be able to also measure some other KPIs. One of ours was full price penetration. I don't know if your brands are very promotional or not, but we wanted to scale back on being promotional. So you have to have like a long range strategy, at least for 3 years, to elevate your brand through brand strategy and brand marketing, to be able to show that your full price penetration is growing. So that is not optimizing your performance every day, is how you show up, how you really evolve your brand projection and differentiation touch points across the full journey. We grew our full price penetration by 20 points in 2 years. Another thing that, my CFO was able to, apprehend and understand was even like spending money in the way you shoot your products and your campaigns. We used to have very, I would say classic photo shoots and very product centric. But when you evolve that, so we evolved to what we call premium e-com and campaigns. I'm able to A/B test all of these things, right? So on your e-com, like how do you, every time you have the opportunity to A/B test something, do it, because it increased our conversion rate by 6 points right away and 12, within a year. So, and we already have a conversion rate above 4%. So that makes a big difference. So then that justifies having like more budget into your creative or brand marketing budget, because but it starts with one thing. It's just like, what are the key objectives that you share with your leadership team? So full price penetration, or a stronger conversion rate, or like driving a long-term traffic and organic search performance. If they understand that, then they see the value. If you just want to look at, your immediate performance, you have your PR agency come with their impression metrics and no one understands what it means. I do not. So,
yep, I absolutely relate to it. And I would say in our case as NextRoll, which is a digital advertising platform, we also look at metrics on traffic, but we also look at engaged traffic. And what we have another metric which says quality of sign up. And quality of sign up is, hey, did we get signups within our own ICP, which is mid-market brands that we typically end up serving. Fascinating. And I think the dialogue with the CFO and how to navigate that and help them become more aware of the opportunity, I think has to be part of every marketing leader's playbook, I would say here. When we were talking earlier, Sabrina, you shared some things which were very fascinating for me in terms of thinking about customers across all of their life stages. You said your core product strategy and marketing strategy has thought through the relevance of your product across all life stages of the customers. And you built some new products, and that has been sort of core to your strategy. Can you share a little bit with the audience on that?
Absolutely. So it goes back to having like a strategy, like a long-range strategy. So if you have a clear brand platform and value proposition, you're able to inform not only your marketing strategy, but your product roadmap, your design inspirations, etc. So we have a core offering. We have this iconic product that we've been, selling, for like the past 25 years. It represents 60% of our business. You need to grow your core, but you need also to drive innovation as far as your product offering. the way we work right now is my team is responsible to bring all the customers' insights into our product development process. Meaning that, before it was just the merch team saying like, these are the products, and marketing figure that out. Now I'll take the example that we chatted about. We identify, we listen to customers, we see some wide gaps, with our competitors, and we dig into it. We survey customers. We bring very clear data points and insights to our merch team and design team to be able to launch products that we believe in. So we launched 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I'm in Intimate, so it will get quite intimate. But I heard a data point that 1/3 of women experience daily leakage after they have their first child. No one talks about it because we don't want to talk about it. But that's a real pain point for many women. Then we started to survey them and say, what are you using? And what they're using is either like granny panties, like something that's not very comfortable or even feminine, or panty liners. And they're just like, there's nothing on market that can, that can really, solve our issue. So we decided to launch a leak-proof panty based on our bestseller. So we sell one every 10 seconds of our signature lace collection, but we powered it with a leak-proof technology with one of the best player out there called Salt. Salt, they're B Corp, they're not treated with PFAs, etc. And we worked on R&D for 2 years. We launched 2 weeks ago. I thought, and I pushed my merch team, I said, stop. Just make sure you invest in that one because I do believe in it. So they brought worth of 6 months of inventory when we launched. We sold out after 4 days. Insane. So I'm airing goods right now. A lot of new customers coming in. When you're able to not just say, I'm customer centric and I'm reading reviews, but really understand your customer deeper than, anyone else, to what they want to feel, what is their life stage, what are the life moments where you can show up, what are their pain points, and really put your energy in solving something for them, it works. So that one has been one of the best launch we had so far. But we're doing this for every single product we develop, knowing that we're very much into slow fashion and craftsmanship and US made, etc. So it takes some time. But when we launch it right. So that will be a great driver of growth for us.
Fantastic. And I think the lesson I'm taking from this is you often have stated needs from the customer, but you also have needs that are latent or unstated. And I think great product and marketing companies, they work hand in hand to gather those latent needs and untapped needs and sort of activate them, understand them. And I think that's really a great example of how you took that insight to innovate with your product.
It started, I would say, with a brand platform, which our promise is to uplift all the versions of you. So meaning like all the versions of you, not just, how you show up and how you look to someone else. And two, being able to work in tandem with everyone internally. The campaign we launched is called No Compromise, because women have been compromising for a long time. After they're, at postpartum or during perimenopause or menopause, etc. How do you make sure that you're bringing, an uplifting moment for them? I think the campaign, to your point, was a crucial element of our launch.
Great. Fantastic. So our audience here hasn't heard this term in the last couple of years. So let's introduce that term here, and it's called AI. I'm just kidding. I'm sure all of us are enamored with messages that say AI and machine learning. So I thought I'll just also pick your brain a little bit on AI, machine learning, and automation, and how do you think about that as it comes to increasing lifetime value of customers and, again, building long-lasting customer relationships?
I would take two examples. I think, I don't want to talk about things that we always talk about because you all know how AI can drive, personalization or audiences, I think the best use case that we had, I'm very focused on bringing efficiencies to my team. I have an amazing team. They bring a lot of value. They're very creative, but they spend so much time doing manual work or like things that they do not bring value to. So that's one of my objectives. The first thing we've done, we're a premium brand and we value every relationship and contact we have with customers. So we started with customer service. We were one of the first brands to really leverage, AI and agents for customer service because I wanted to bring this team to be not a customer service team, but a retention team, like some kind of a concierge. When you're a woman or a man looking for a gift, like you want to talk to someone and be able to find what's right. So we started to train the AI agent. We did it for 6 months, took so much work. But then to the point that 50% of our tickets are automated. All the tickets that were not, we didn't bring any value to. Done, the language is right, the way it's interacting with customers is amazing. So my team, and again, I kept the same team, didn't mean that I cut people, means that I was able to repurpose this team to do exactly what they do the best, interact with customers and build long-term relationships. So I hear a lot of people saying, like your team might be afraid or, they're scared to lose their job. Like I had this discussion with my copywriter a few months ago when I said, use ChatGPT like for SEO optimization, etc. And initially she was like, yeah, well, I don't know. Then she saw the success with customer service, started to use it to make sure that she was focused on editorial pieces, expert, based content, concept for campaigns, etc. So I think it's just like you need a few use cases that will show your team that they shouldn't be afraid of it, but see the value of it. So their job, day-to-day job becomes fun again.
Yep. Fantastic. And in our case, at AdRoll, when we think about conversational agents, the way we've been helping customers is leverage the power of agents to help them understand which campaigns are performing best. And then also think in terms of how they are performing relative to competitive benchmarks, because we work with a lot of brands and that gives us the power of data to understand how campaigns are effectively performing or not. And that's where we become great partners to brands. That was interesting, and it's great to hear that you took the time to invest in training your agent over 6 months before it really started to create true customer value. That's exciting. Let's talk a little bit about customer journey mapping. It's been in the industry as long as kind of I've been here, 2-3 decades. We've talked a lot about customer journey, but can you share with me that how important is it for marketing to spend time doing journey mapping? Have you faced challenges thinking about customer journey mapping, and what advice would you give to the audience here based on what you've learned?
Yeah, I would say the first is crucial. The way even we forecast our business is down to customer segments. What needs to happen from a new customer perspective or from an existing customer perspective to reach your sales goals? That's very important because usually you just look at your AOV, conversion rate, sales, etc. But then you need to break it down to and simplify it, like new versus existing, what needs to happen. When you have these metrics, it's easy then to brief all of your team members and they feel like they contribute. So I will take just the new customer segment. I'm 50-50 existing and new. And as I said, we're growing double digits. So I'm driving a lot of new customers in. The way I approach it, I will give you an example to make it clear, is, where do we over-index on new customers? What are the categories that are driving most of these profitable customers to us? Of course, we have our core offering, but if you dig a little bit deeper, we saw that when there is a life moment that matters in women's lives, that's when they, explore other brands. So we took bridal. So when a woman gets married, she's engaged, we started to dig into what's the journey of a bride, right? Before she even purchases something for her wedding. because everyone's doing bridal campaigns, April through July. That's the prime time for bridal. It starts way before that. She starts building some inspiration boards on Pinterest, for example, the theme of her wedding, the colors, the dresses for her bridesmaids, etc. That's where you need to be, way before you start your purchase journey. And that's what we've done. We invested on Pinterest, giving her inspiration for her wedding. And we cover everything from bachelorette parties to wedding to like honeymoon. And then my head of e-com in my team came to me saying, like, Sabrina, that's insane. We're driving a ton of sessions to the website that do not convert. So we need to stop this campaign. And I said, no, we're testing it. So we will wait a minute and keep it going. We hit April through July, where we're up triple digit. She was ready to buy. So I think when it goes to customer journey mapping, most of the time, a lot of marketers will just, started, looking at the purchase funnel, right? But then if you really customer centric, you need to be more empathetic and understand what's coming before and maybe what's coming after. I think we see great success in doing this.
Fantastic. This again goes back to the strong fundamentals that I think several of us have learned in marketing, which is you got to think much earlier than when the customer starts to engage with you. You need to go to the source of the inspiration. Very exciting. So maybe one more question that is popping in my mind is, how are you thinking about the future of advertising? What's most exciting for you? What's interesting for you when you think about the future of advertising?
Yeah, I think there are many things because everything changes every time. But I would say what I look forward to, and specifically with AI and having a lean team, is how do we bring like kind of AI to the level of, being a pilot with you. I think right now as marketers, we're still using it with the approach that we always had. Like we learn, we build some use cases, and then we develop it. I would love to be, and I think we're getting close to it, like have this kind of decision-making power through AI. They will tell me this segment that you never identified before is behaving that way. You should do this. That's the best next thing that your team should look at. And it could go to like paid marketing, to like personalization, etc. I think that's where we'll have a lot of potential when we'll be able to automate all of these things and have kind of a partner in the decision-making process. I look forward to it because it's still very manual, I feel like, at least for us. We have these segments, we develop campaigns, we learn along the way. AI helps us optimize, but I want to get to the decision-making level. I want to have a partner next to me that can say, hey, Sabrina, you don't have to think about it today. I made the best decision.
Yep. Very exciting. I will say that I also think a lot about the future of advertising, and that is one aspect that I get excited about because I think we all can see the near-term potential of better understanding campaign performance and efficacy. But can there be a world where there is more autonomous tools, agents, co-pilots, as you may describe them, where they can help make campaign decisions under certain boundary conditions, where they can shift budget from one campaign to the other if you're hitting a certain KPI and you have more reach that you can get. So that's one thing that's exciting for me. The other one that's exciting is the opportunity with new channels. So I think we've been so centered on web and social in the last several years, but I think the opportunity with digital video, not just in social, but also on connected TV is another one that I think has a tremendous potential, particularly when you think about it in concert with other channels. I know we're coming to the end of our conversation, so maybe we will steer away for the last 5 minutes and talk a little bit about your professional and life journey and what you've done there and learned from. You shared some really interesting stories about what has defined your life journey. So can you share a little bit with the audience about what defines you? What has defined your who you are?
Yeah, I will start with the fact that First, my mom is from Finland. My dad is from Italy. I grew up in France and in Stockholm. I graduated high school in Stockholm. I married a man who lived in 14 countries. So there was no way we will stay in Paris for too long. So 10 years ago, we made the bold move of like moving to the Bay Area and left our jobs and say, we have young kids, let's do it. We lived there for 5 years, and then I got a job opportunity in New York, so we moved to New York. Long story short, I think the fact that I worked in both continents. So Europe, I was in like global advertising agencies where you work with the best creative people. Like they know. If people went to Cannes, maybe they know how to create campaigns that can resonate with customers. I think we're not the best in the US, but we know how to understand data and leverage data to optimize things, and they're not the best in Europe. So it really developed my right and left brain thinking. So that's what I bring every single time. I'm very data driven, but I also have a lot of empathy for customers to understand their journey, specifically in Intimates. That's why I'm having so much fun, because it goes way deeper than what we think. So right and left brain thinking, but also understanding that we all have different lives. We have, a different culture. And even within the US, try to understand from a sociology perspective how we all behave differently. We have different beliefs, etc. It's important to understand that, to not just bring your customer down to a segment and connect with them emotionally.
Yep. I think the diversity of perspectives that you just talked about, I think is very intriguing. And I've personally gone through a bunch of these changes where I've worked in different industries and different countries. And while you're going through that experience, you don't know how you will pattern match and use them later in your career. So that was very interesting for me. Okay, I know we are almost up on time. One last question. Have you had do you have any regrets of decisions you made in your career that you learned from and you would have done them differently?
I will have like two answers to that one, and quick ones because I know we're at time. One, I have a regret. I chose a vendor 2 years ago for something that was strategic for my company. And at least my team and I chose a vendor because it was the less expensive. Never do that, ever. Right? Make sure that you get references, make sure that you understand their roadmap, etc. It was a disaster. So I won't name the vendor, but happy we moved quickly after that and migrated. But that was one of my biggest regrets because it impacted our business. So I'll be way more thorough. Two, I would say never regret anything from my career. I made bold moves. Never regret anything. You can always go back. That's the thing. And I think for a lot of people, it's hard, it's scary, to make a move. It could be a change in, a job, or it could be a move for your family, or a change, whatever it is. You can always go back. So let's do it. Let's take the risk. And I never regretted anything that I've done. And I move forward and not backwards.
That's fantastic advice. I also feel there are more decisions that are two-way doors than we think they are. So on that, we'll call it a wrap. Thank you for all your great thoughts, Sabrina. And thanks, audience.
Thank you, guys.